The ability to delay gratification is rooted in how our brain works and also how badly we really want something. By finding your why, starting smaller, being able to wall stare and turn off your Wi-Fi, and by talking to your future self, we start to see that it's more linked to your self-image, which is almost certainly why you can't delay gratification. Let's dive in and find out why that is. If you're anything like me, you're constantly in a tug of war between your current self who wants instant gratification and your future self, which you want to delay gratification for. And you're not even close to being alone if you think it's just you. In a world where social media and fast food are the primary sources of dopamine, it can seem impossible to delay gratification like we used to 20 or 30 years ago. But what if I told you if you were to master delaying gratification, it can bring a whole level of success, happiness, and fulfillment into your life that you've never really experienced before. Now, here's where I think most of us do get caught up when it comes to delayed gratification, and is something I realized while writing the script for this video. That, my friends, is self-image. If you think you can't achieve something, or you're not worthy of some goal you're trying to achieve in the future, chances are you won't even get started and engage in instant gratification and scrolling social media, eating junk food, because you think you're not capable or not deserving of that goal. And that is the enemy we're all battling here. I know it sounds very simple, but this can be very deep rooted. Self-image has everything to do with delaying gratification. It's one of the only things that really drives us to not delay gratification. So if this sounds like you, we need to see what is driving that self-image, because of course you are capable of anything, you just haven't been able to show yourself that yet. It's not really about resisting temptations, it's more about making the right choices to benefit you in the long term. This is a bit of a different spin on what you typically hear. You don't want to engage in any kind of instant gratification and you only want to delay gratification, but that's also not true. But that also begs the question, why is it so challenging? And part of this reason is because we need to ignore our innate impulses to grab and take advantage of things that are right in front of us, and instead push that gratification into the future that is unknown. According to the cognitive affective personality system, or CAPS theory for short, which is a part of personality psychology, delayed gratification is a very multifaceted thing. And it's related to our self-regulation, patience, and our impulse control. So now let's take a quick little look at the neuroscience of delayed gratification as well, because it does all happen up here in your brain. And it's a constant battle between the impulses from your striatum, which is in your brainstem, to the rational decision making of the prefrontal cortex. And it's this constant tug of war between the two, between taking that impulse and making sure we think about the long-term consequences. What's interesting about delayed gratification, though, is because it is this tug of war, we can train the prefrontal cortex to win more often, and we can train it much like a muscle. So delayed gratification can be learned. There is also some limit to how long we can delay gratification. Studies have shown that between 15 and 25 years is kind of where our prefrontal cortex reaches its limit. It doesn't really matter the amount of money or whatever the reward is. We are not willing to delay gratification that long. We typically try to avoid pain and gravitate towards pleasure. And this is typically guided by the neurotransmitters in our brain called glutamate and GABA respectively. So glutamate is for those positive feelings and GABA is for those negative feelings. What makes delayed gratification hard then is that it eats away at this ability of us to avoid pain. If we go and do a workout we don't want to do, or we scroll social media instead of reading our book, what we're really doing is avoiding pain. And if we dive into that pain, we get over that initial pain and go do the thing, wonderful things will happen and we're able to delay gratification. But really it goes against our natural affinity to gravitate towards instant rewards and avoid that pain in the first place. All right, so now what we've all been waiting for, we need to talk about some ways that you can improve your ability to delay gratification. One of the most powerful things you can do, and is something you might have already tried to do because it is a little bit more on the simpler side, and that, my friends, is finding your why. If you have a purpose, for a reason to get better, if you want to look fitter, and if you want to be smarter, if you want to learn more, if you want to get better at your craft, you are going to delay gratification, because by practicing your craft and doing that workout and eating that meal in itself is not doing anything. It's doing squat for you. You're not getting any instant gratification from that. But if you want that body badly enough, if you want to get that career bad enough, if you want to be successful badly enough, you will delay gratification. And that's why it's so important to find your why, so that it's easier for you to do this. Like with a lot of things we talk about on this channel, it's so important for you to start small as well. If you start and you do a hard workout, you get home, you're sweating, and you put in that work and it's not yet a routine for you, sit down on the couch and watch TV. Watch your favorite show. You need to reinforce that behavior. If you then again do a workout, do the same thing. Watch a TV show after, and you start linking those, habit stacking, going back to our previous videos. By doing this, you're inherently learning to love going for your workout. Same thing goes if you make a cold call. Listen to some good music afterwards, or eat a snack you really like. Just find a way to reward yourself for those small things, and over time you'll start to build the habit of doing those things, and it'll build into delayed gratification, because you're building towards something further in the future that's much more worthwhile. And this works even better if you try to create friction for that instant gratification. If your workout is sometimes jeopardized by the fact that you have TikTok on your phone and you won't get off the couch, delete TikTok. If you're very easily coerced by the fast food or junk food in your cabinets, get rid of that shit. Seriously. All right, here's an interesting one. Consider doing a no Wi-Fi period. What I mean by this is at 8 p.m. you go and unplug your router. Of course, if you have a family, this isn't going to work, but try talking to them, seeing if they'll get on board. But unplug it at 8 p.m., plug it back in at 7 a.m. The entire evening after that, what you're going to do is either work on a skill or writing or reading. You're going to talk to a loved one. The second thing you can do is to wall stare. Now, this is a very controversial one. A lot of people kind of laugh it out of the room, but it works wonders, you guys, I'm telling you. So all you have to do for this is, as it sounds, you spend between 5 to 15 minutes, longer if you want to, staring at a wall. The idea here is to lower your dopamine threshold. Whatever you do after that is going to seem incredible. Whatever work you end up doing, even if it's boring, is going to seem somewhat interesting, because your dopamine levels are going to be so low that any kind of stimulation will make you excited. Every evening before I go to bed, before I go to the office for work, I find myself spending 20 to 30 minutes getting everything ready for the next day. What I'll do is I'll put out clothes for the next day, I'll get my gym bag together, I'll make sure all my work supplies are in my backpack, my lunch is made, and that I've set the coffee machine to start at 7 a.m. so that I can have warm coffee and I don't have to do any extra work in the morning. Where's this all leading? I'm talking about future you. A big part of delayed gratification is that we often think we can't relate to our future self. We think our future self is some abstract person that's a completely different version of ourselves than we currently know, and that's just bullshit. So by doing this, by preparing for your very near future self and getting to know them, doing favorable things for them, you're learning that future you isn't so different from current you, and building a positive relationship with future you. And by doing this, you're going to learn to delay gratification, simply because you know you can turn into future you, regardless of how far out that might be. So by being kind to your future self, you're also start to realize that you want to put in that work for your future self as well, because every day you do something that moves you forward is a vouch for you in the future. It's also important to note that not all gratification has to be delayed. And not all instant gratification has to be done away with. This is often a big misunderstanding when it comes to delayed gratification, especially because it's typically only the thing that we need to excel at that we need to delay gratification for. Let me explain. If we go to the gym, we can still go with friends and have a great time. If we're doing work, we can still listen to great music or have a nice snack. It doesn't all have to be just delaying gratification and the sense of misery and the hatred towards whatever you're doing. It's just delaying gratification for that thing you want to get better at, you want to excel at, and where you want to impress your future self. That's where you need to delay gratification. All of the instant gratification is completely warranted, and you're more than welcome to engage in that however you want. I, of course, do that too. I love listening to good music. I love hanging out with my friends. I love eating junk food once in a while. Like, you're able to do all those things as long as it's not that thing that you want to focus on. The delayed gratification part, that reward that we're all looking for in the end, doesn't really matter. It all stretches to infinity, and realistically, all that's left is the process, which we'll end up loving if we become good enough at it. And that's really the beauty of it all. It's not even about the reward. It's about building that discipline and that habit of working towards that goal that really shapes us as people. One of the ways you can do this is by not having some huge goal that's going to take you 10 years, like building a $10 million business. That's a very big goal to start with and will likely end with you not wanting to delay gratification anymore. Instead, just start with a smaller risk. See if instead of making coffee right when you get to the office, if you really love your morning coffee like I do, you can wait 2 hours, do some meaningful work in the meantime, and then go make your coffee. It'll give you that sense of delaying gratification, and you'll feel that you actually got some work done in the time between you starting work and to when you got your reward. If you watched it until now, thank you, but you're definitely ahead of 95% of people because you're interested in learning about this kind of stuff. And if this interested you, feel free to check out the social media video I posted right here. It also has a very good take on why you should eliminate instant gratification. Thanks for watching.